CrowdStrike closed up 6%, and the Cybersecurity ETF took the #1 ETF slot in the same session. Same sector, both top ranks out of 134 symbols. That pairing is the rare part, and it happened on a day crude fell more than 5%, and the 30-year eased off Friday's high. Stay with us. By the close, you'll know what that combination actually signals. The bounce came off the put concentration floor, not confirmed breadth. And the macro data underneath is exactly where this read gets more complicated. DXY is holding near 100, even after the confirmed yen intervention. Dollar and bonds are running two separate reads right now. 10-year yields eased to 4.68 on Iran de-escalation, and the 30-year slipped 4 basis points today to 5.23%, still sitting just under the highest monthly close since before the financial crisis, which it set on Friday. TLT is mapping that move live on your screen. That yield is the level everything else prices off. And the primary fuel keeping it elevated is exactly what the energy scan is about to show. Crude fell more than 5% today, and XLE only gave back 1.25%. So energy equities held relative strength through the sell-off. And sector leadership isn't confirmed as broken yet. With crude cooling that hard, the 30 years inflation argument just lost its primary driver, and that repositioned capital flows directly into what metals are showing next. Gold is holding its gamma floor, even as Iran talks cool safe haven demand. The floor is intact, but momentum has flattened right out. GLD and SLV both finished within 0.1% of where they started. That's the signal here. Crude fell more than 5% and yields eased, and metals still didn't move. Capital isn't leaving the group. It just isn't committing to it either. And while metals sat still, the international picture was carrying a very different signal. Taiwan is the standout in the international readout. EWT added about 1.5% on semiconductor strength, the best move on the international board. Japan came along more quietly. EWJ closed up roughly 0.5%, holding its ground even with yen intervention pressure still working through carry positions. And that's the read worth keeping. The carry unwind hasn't broken Japanese equities. It's compressing them. Two parts of the same tech supply chain, both higher, but at very different speeds. And that carry trade pressure is showing up much harder in speculative risk. Bitcoin is stalling just above 63,400, effectively flat on the day. A bearish moving average cross is forming on the 4-hour chart. The daily oscillator has already flipped negative, and IBIT is tracking it lower. The Clarity Act vote is the one near-term catalyst on the board. But until that resolves, the structure reads like continued sideways pressure rather than a breakout. That carry trade squeeze from Japan is showing up here in speculative risk. And it's exactly the kind of noise the best of best scan had to filter through to get to today's shortlist. A confirmed yen intervention backdrop, a 30-year at multi-decade highs, and one cluster held its rank straight through all of it. 134 symbols made today's best of best shortlist from SignalFinder Pro, filtered through all that macro noise. The energy sell-off, the crypto pressure, the international divergences. The clusters the system ranked highest are in financials and cybersecurity. And that's where we run the tiers. The sector board has financials at #1. XLF is in the leading state, and that's the rotation signal Nasdaq's decline was already telegraphing. Capital isn't disappearing, it's repositioning. Healthcare ranks second, but XLV is running in the lagging state. The rank and the signal don't line up there right now. Real estate rounds out the top 3, with XLRE also leading. 2 of the top 3 sectors in the leading state, with financials pulling the rotation. And the #1 ETF is built directly on that same theme. The #1 ranked ETF from today's scan is CIBR, the first trust Nasdaq Cybersecurity ETF, up over 2% on the session. It's the cybersecurity cluster, the best of best surfaced. Index-level tech pressure didn't take down the security infrastructure names. Both the CIBR chart and the SignalFinder Pro viewer are live on your screen. Take a look at the setup. CrowdStrike, CRWD, finished the session up over 6%, the #1 ranked stock on the best of best scan. The back end surfaced it out of 134 symbols, and it's landing alongside CIBR at the top. The cybersecurity cluster is running both the #1 ETF and the #1 stock right now. And that's the combination worth keeping. On a day crude broke down and yields eased off their high, capital didn't scatter across the tape. It concentrated in one cluster. Both the chart and the SignalFinder Pro viewer are live on your screen. So what actually held? Through a 5% crude sell-off, a yen intervention backdrop, and a flat crypto tape, One cluster kept its rank the whole way. The thing to watch tomorrow. Does the 30-year keep easing off Friday's high? And does CrowdStrike hold that #1 slot a second session? Verify both live in SignalFinder Pro. And remember, this is educational, not financial advice. Do your own homework.